You know what repels people quicker than anything? Neediness, that desperate vibration that reverberates, please return, please notice me, please love me once more. It's not beautiful, it's repulsive, because when you're pursuing, you're telling the world, I'm not enough without this person. I don't have enough. And that frequency, people pick up on it right away. You don't even have to utter a word. Your energy bellows it. Listen, the key isn't to pursue, the key is to attract. Attraction doesn't occur from begging or persuading, it occurs from becoming. When you give up trying to yank someone back into your life and begin stepping into your power, that's when everything changes. Because human beings, we're hardwired to be attracted to certainty, confidence, and aliveness. We want to be around someone who knows who they are and where they're going. Consider this. When you initially encountered the other person, what attracted them to you? It wasn't the calls, the texts, the incessant checking. It was your energy. You were flowing. You were living your life. You were intent on your dreams, your friends, your objectives. And that energy was attractive. You didn't require them. You desired them, of course, but you didn't require them. That's when the spark occurs. But eventually we forget. We lose our inner equilibrium and begin to pour all our energy into the other person. We believe love is about chasing, repairing, controlling. But love suffocates in control. It expands in freedom. The moment you release trying to cling so tight, the moment you refocus that energy inward, you take back your power, you regain your footing. And let me tell you something strong. When you retract your energy, people pay attention. When you cease pursuing, when you cease messaging every 5 minutes, when you cease trying to show your value, that quiet is loud. They begin questioning, wait, what's going on? Why did they no longer need me? Did they move on? Did they level up? That questioning, that change, it flips the power structure completely. Because now you've turned the tables. You're not looking for validation anymore. You're providing it to yourself. You're not waiting for someone to finish you off. You're seeing you were already finished. And that type of energy, it's not just irresistible. It's the type of energy that pulls people, possibilities, and experiences back into your life like a magnet. So if you want them to return, stop thinking about them. Think about you. Think about becoming the type of person who doesn't just get one person back, but gets everything good life has to offer. Build your body, build your mind, build your peace, get back in touch with your friends. Laugh again. Remember who you were prior to the pain. Because here's the thing, people don't return to the same version of you they departed from. They return to the version that grew, that evolved, that glowed up, that found happiness again. You don't attract out of desperation, you attract out of abundance. And abundance begins the minute you determine you are enough. So don't chase, don't beg, don't try to get someone to look at your value, become unstoppable. Let your behavior, your development, your fresh energy speak for itself. The right individuals always recognize true power, and when you claim yours, when you raise your vibration, when you begin living with passion and purpose once again, they'll feel it. They'll remember how it used to feel to be around you, and that's when the universe does something amazing. It begins to rearrange all of that to align with the new frequency that you're at. And when that occurs, you won't even have to pursue them, because the thing is, they will return, not because you wished for it, because you are the kind of person who no one can ever forget. Energy is the game. It's the intangible power that determines how people react to you, how opportunities locate you, and how your whole life transpires. You can say everything that's right, do everything that's right, send everything that's right, but if your energy's not right, nothing sticks. People may not even realize why consciously, but something in them just feels something's missing. We live in an energetic world. Everything that you do, the way you walk, breathe, talk, twinkle in your eye, it all sends out a vibration. And that vibration is announcing to the world who you are and what you think about yourself. When you're operating from fear, from scarcity, from lack, you're sending out that vibe and the world reflects it right back to you. But when you're operating from certainty, gratitude, and joy, that's when life begins to flow. You can't fake energy. You can fake a smile, sure. You can fake confidence for a minute. But true energy comes from your state, and your state is something you can control. That's the secret. Every day, you have the power to shift your emotional state from sad to empowered, from hopeless to unstoppable, by how you move, how you breathe, what you focus on, and what story you tell yourself. When you're hurting from a breakup or loss, your energy plummets. You hunch over, shallow, breathing, speech slowing down. You replay the past over and over again, and your body starts to live that narrative. But here's reality: emotion is created by motion. You wish you could change how you feel, move differently, stand up, get outside, exercise, scream out loud if need be, reclaim your body first, because when your body changes, your emotions follow. I've seen people transform their entire life just by changing their state. They stand taller, they breathe deeper, they start focusing on what they have instead of what they've lost. And suddenly, the same life, the same people, the same challenges look completely different. Why? Because they shifted their energy. And this is where it gets strong. Other human beings sense your energy before they even hear your words. You ever walk into a room and immediately sense someone's vibe? Maybe they didn't say a word, you knew. They were confident or possibly insecure, upset or ecstatic. That's energy it's catching. So if you want someone to return, or if you desire new love, new success, new possibilities, don't go out there attempting to make it happen. Lift your energy first. When your energy is good, you become magnetic. You don't have to pursue, things begin coming to you naturally. People feel safer, happier, more alive when they're around you. And that's what brings them closer. I've had individuals tell me, Tony, how do I get someone to feel something again? How do I rekindle that flame? And I say to them, you can't get someone to feel something unless you're feeling it yourself. If you desire passion, be passionate. If you desire love, live love. If you desire joy, begin living joy. You can't pour from an empty cup. Fill yours up first, and it'll spill over into all aspects of your life. Energy is power. The most energetic person in the room always controls the room. So come in, bring life, bring confidence, bring presence. Don't wait for the world to pick you up. Pick yourself up, and the world will rise to meet you. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what you get, it's about who you become. When your energy changes, your relationships change, your results change, your entire reality changes. So the next time you begin to spiral, the next time you feel tiny or helpless, pause. Breathe in, change your focus, get up and move. Claim back your energy. Because when you own your state, when you elevate your vibration, all that you desire, including that individual, begins to come back around, not through force, but through flow. The thing is, all the things you desire, the peace, the love, the success, it begins within. You can't construct a strong life on weak inner ground. You can't draw joy when the world within you is turmoil. You've got to rebuild your inner state, because your world outside you is always a reflection of what's occurring within. When most individuals lose something or someone significant, they believe the hurt is originating from the outside. They state, they left me, so I am hurting. However, the hurt is not what occurred. It is the meaning you assign to what occurred. You concluded, because they are gone, I am not sufficient. I am not loved. I am broken. That's what actually hurts you. But this is the power you hold. You have the ability to shift that meaning. You can choose right now that this moment is not the culmination of your narrative. It's the rebirth of a bolder, smarter, more powerful you. You can turn the pain into fuel, use it to construct something unmovable within, because you're not a victim of emotion, you're the architect of it. Every emotion you have, you create. You are not your pain, you're the one experiencing it. And the minute you see that, you begin taking your power back. Restoring your inner state involves making a choice. I will no longer live at the mercy of my emotions. It means equipping your mind to work for you rather than against you. And that starts with awareness. Begin to pay attention to the patterns, the inner voice that lets you know you're not enough. Times your energy hits its low, the rehashing of the past, just observe it. Awareness shatters the spell, because when you observe it, you can shift it. Then change your focus. Cease to ask, why did they leave? Begin asking, what can I learn? How can I grow? Who can I become because of this? Those questions transform everything. They shift you from victim to creator. They move you from feeling powerless to being in control again. And let's be honest, rebuilding takes time. It's a process. But every time you opt for gratitude over anger, faith over fear, growth over comfort, you're rebuilding. Every time you get out of bed and move your body, read something inspiring, meditate, journal, or simply breathe deeply rather than crumbling, you're rebuilding. You're reminding your nervous system that you are safe, that you are enough, that you are getting stronger with each passing day. And the lovely thing is, the more you build your inner world, the less you rely on the outer world to confirm it. You no longer wait for someone to tell you you're worth something, because you already know it. You no longer seek peace from another person, because you've constructed it within yourself. That's freedom. That's power. because the individual who is able to control their internal state can deal with anything. Disaster can be going on around you, but you are still centered, still calm, still grounded. And that calmness, that stillness is magnetic. People can feel it. They can sense your stability, your presence, your power, and that's when life begins to flow again. So today, don't go pursuing happiness out there, create it in here. Don't wait for someone to make you peaceful. Create it, because when you rebuild your world in here, your world out here has no option but to rise to its level. Keep this in mind: pain is temporary, but power is eternal. Each obstacle, each heartbreak, each loss is an invitation to rise higher, to rebuild you from the inside out. And when you do, when you regain that deep inner alignment, everything and everyone that's meant for you will find their way back. Not because you must, but because your energy, your strength, your completeness, it's irrefutable. One of life's most difficult lessons, and one of the most liberating, is how to release, how to let go of the result. Because once you hold on too tightly to anything, you suffocate it. The second you worry about when, how, or if it will, you're moving from faith to fear, and fear drives away what faith would have drawn in. You got to get this: attachment is based on lack. When you're attached, you're telling the universe, if I don't have this person, if this doesn't happen, I won't be all right. And the universe responds. It reflects back to you that vibration. It gives you more uncertainty, more frustration, more resistance, because that's the energy you're living in. But when you let go of needing to control the result, all the doors open up. You move from need to trust. You're saying, I know what I want, but I trust that life has my back. I trust that what's meant for me will remain, and what's not will make way for something better. That's not weakness. That's power. That's freedom. That's saying, I don't require this to be complete. I am complete. Because the fact is, when you really detach, you end up living in response instead of reaction. You end up being led by love, not by every text message, every silence, every subtle signal. You transition from chaos to serenity. And that peaceful energy, that still confidence, is attractive. When you finally relax, when you finally stop overthinking, when you finally stop trying to push things into being, you open up space for the other person to feel the lack of your energy. You allow them to catch their breath, and in that space, something changes. Because people sense when you no longer need them, sense when your energy shifts from nervous to calm. I'm not suggesting you stop loving. I'm suggesting you stop holding on. You begin to live again. You begin to love the process, the journey, the discovery. You believe in the timing. You believe that if it's intended for you, it can't miss you. And if it's not, something better is coming. Detachment is not apathy. Detachment is not that you don't want it. It is that you want it so clean that you're willing to let go of it. You're not showing up from fear. You're showing up from love. You're showing up as if to say, I love deeply, but I don't lose myself in that love. The most beautiful humans are the ones who are at peace. They're not needling, not dominating, not pleading for affirmation. They're sure of who they are, sure of their value, sure that life is unfolding just as it should. And that sureness makes gravity. People can't help but be drawn in. When you detach, you reclaim your emotional power. You stop giving your peace away to situations you can't control. You start realizing that your happiness isn't dependent on a person, a message, a return. It's dependent on your state, your perspective, your choice in this moment. So breathe, release the timeline. How? It is not your job to control the result. It is your job to get into alignment, to live in thanks, to keep expanding, to keep being the best you can be. And when you do that, things begin to surprise you. People come back, doors open, opportunities abound, because you're finally in flow, not resistance. And here's the paradox: the moment you stop needing the outcome, that's usually when it happens. When you no longer chase, when you no longer depend, when you finally say, I'm good no matter what, the energy shifts. That's when the universe or that person circles back, because you let go of pursuing love and began living it. You let go of expecting an outcome and began living from plenty. And that's when all that is meant for you comes back to you easily, naturally, effortlessly, not because you coerced it, but because you finally released. You need to stop thinking of yourself as one waiting to be selected and begin understanding that you are the prize. You're not the pursuer, you're the pursued. You're not the one establishing value, you are the value. And when you lastly absorb that reality, the whole game changes. The majority of people forget this because they have been conditioned to think love equals validation. They say to themselves, if they pick me, I am enough. But that kind of thinking gives all your power away. The second you make your value based on the other person's approval, you've already lost. Because what if they leave you, you fall apart, you begin to think you're less, when in fact you're still the same amazing, able, passionate person you were before they ever arrived. Becoming the prize is being mindful of that reality. You were worth something before they even saw you, and you'll be worth something long after they leave. You don't grow more or less based on who sees it. You're enough. You always were. Consider the following: when you encounter someone who really knows their value, you can sense it immediately. They don't have to tell you. It's how they hold themselves, the way they gaze at you, the serenity that encompasses them. They're not trying to impress you. They're simply being. They emanate peace, confidence, self-assurance. That is power, that is magnetism, and it's yours for the taking at this moment. But in order to be the prize, you have to break yourself of playing the part of the contestant, pleading for attention. Stop overgiving merely to be seen. You set people up to treat you by the level of expectation that you set for yourself. If you behave as if your time, your energy, your heart are valuable, people will rise to meet that level. But if you continue to discount yourself just to keep someone on the line, they'll never honor it. You have to rebuild your self-image from the ground up. Give yourself reminders of who you are, your gifts, your compassion, your resilience, your progress. Nurture that image each and every day until it is unbreakable. Because when you feel like the prize, you walk differently, you talk differently. You hold yourself like someone who believes in their worth. And here's the wonderful part: when you raise your vibration, you not only bring back the person, you bring back better. You bring back individuals who align with your new vibration, people who honor, appreciate, and celebrate you, because energy seeks its equal. Becoming the prize is not arrogance, it's self-respect. It's the quiet confidence that says, I don't chase love, I express it. I don't beg for time, I offer mine, I don't fight to be seen. I'm too busy shining. That's not ego, that's truth. So prioritize growth. Invest in yourself as if you were the most valuable investment you'll ever make, because you are. Put work into your health, your passion, your purpose. Rekindle your excitement around your goals. Create a life that's so rewarding that anyone who left would regret it and look back and think, how did I walk away from that? And here's the thing: once you become that version of you, when you're filled with confidence, peace, and joy, people notice. They can't help but notice, because confidence is magnetic. Self-love is magnetic. You stop pulling and start drawing in naturally, effortlessly. You don't need to demonstrate your value to someone. You simply need to own it. That person you desire to return to, they will sense it. They will notice that radiance in your eyes, that spark in your voice, that strength in your aura. And on a deep level, they will recall precisely why they were attracted to you to begin with. From now on, walk like the prize, think like the prize, live like the prize. For once you do, you stop running after what's not yours, and all that is yours runs after you. Forgiveness. It's one of the strongest forces on earth and one of the toughest. Because forgiveness isn't about making what happened okay. It's about telling that person, I'm done letting this control me. It's about letting go of the burden that's been on your chest. Not for them, for you. Too many people hold on to anger, resentment, betrayal, thinking that it shelters them. They tell themselves, if I forgive, they win. No, if you forgive, you win. Because forgiving doesn't set the other person free, it sets you free. Each bit of anger you hold on to keeps you stuck in that past moment. You're reliving it, replaying it, keeping it alive in your body, in your mind, in your energy. And until you stop doing that, you can't move forward. You can't walk into your future while carrying around the chains of your past. Somewhere along the line, you have to choose, I'm not carrying this anymore. Not for them, because they don't deserve peace, but for you. Forgiveness is not forgetting. Forgiveness is not pretending it did not occur. Forgiveness is deciding to remember but not reopening the wound. Forgiveness is proclaiming, that experience made me, it doesn't make me. You hold on to the lesson, not the hurt. You hold on to the wisdom, not the resentment. Because when you forgive, you make room for new love, new energy, new blessings. Consider this. Have you ever realized how weighed down you are when you're upset? How it sucks the life out of you, your happiness, your clarity? That's because resentment is toxic, but it's toxic you imbibe hoping to harm someone else. It doesn't. It just keeps you mired in a narrative that no longer works for you. And perhaps you were severely hurt. Perhaps someone deceived, betrayed, or deserted you. Perhaps you gave all and they discarded it. But here's the reality: not letting go of that hurt does not hurt them, it hurts you. You cannot heal as long as you are holding malice. You cannot love with all your heart when your heart's still balled up in the past. Forgiveness is strength. It's courage. It's saying, you hurt me, but I choose peace over pain. I choose freedom over anger. I choose to rise. And when you do that, not just in your head, but in your heart, your energy shifts. You feel lighter. Your smile returns. You sleep better. You breathe deeper because you're no longer holding what was never yours to hold for life. And here's the best part: when you forgive, you don't forfeit your strength. You regain it because now you're not responding, you're responding. You're not letting somebody else control your feelings, you're directing them. You become immovable, not because life hurt you, but because you didn't let it keep you broken. It's not easy. Forgiveness can take time. Sometimes you have to cry, scream, write, pray, whatever it takes to expel it from your body. But when you do finally decide to let it go, healing starts. That's the point at which you say to the universe, I'm ready for better. And don't confuse forgiveness with weakness. Weakness is holding on to anger because you're afraid to face what's underneath. Strength is looking that pain dead in the eye and saying, you don't owe me anymore. When you forgive, your vibration changes, and others notice. The anger disappears from your voice. The brightness returns to your eyes. The barriers around your heart begin to crumble. And that transformation, because you no longer live as a captive of the past and begin to live as the architect of your tomorrow. So forgive, not to allow them to return, but to allow yourself to proceed, not to obliterate the past, but to construct a more excellent one. Don't forget what it learned you, but don't bear it as armor also. Because forgiveness isn't for them returning, it's for you returning to peace, strength, and power. And that's the comeback that really counts. Here's the truth: you can't go forward until you stop beating yourself up over the past. Guilt holds you back, growth liberates you, and yet so many people spend their whole lives stuck on the question, what if I hadn't messed up? What if I'd said this, done that, been better? Let me tell you something: guilt is a teacher, not a home. It's supposed to wake you up, not weigh you down. It's that inner voice that says, hey, learn from this. Do better next time. But once you've learned, once you've made peace with the lesson, you've got to let it go. Otherwise, guilt becomes self-punishment. Self-punishment doesn't heal you. It kills your spirit. Growth starts the moment you choose to stop reliving what didn't work and instead begin to ask, what can I create from this? Because guilt holds you hostage in the past, but growth provides you with direction. It provides meaning to the pain, and meaning is what turns suffering into strength. We all mess up. We all fall short. We all have those times where we spoke in error, reacted out of fear, or didn't show up as we should have. But that doesn't make you broken. That makes you human. What characterizes you isn't the error, it's what you do with it. Do you let it define you, or you let it refine you? The best, most successful, most well-lived people in the world have failed more times than most people even attempt. They've made errors, they've lost others, they've reached rock bottom, but they wouldn't stay there. They've taken their suffering and used it as fuel. They've used their guilt and turned it into growth. And that's what you must do as well. When you own growth, you regain control. You say, I can't change the past, but I can change the pattern. You quit identifying with the part of yourself that blew it, and you begin to become the part who learned from it. That's evolution. That's maturity. That's freedom. And here's something powerful: the people who truly grow from their pain become unstoppable because they no longer fear failure. They've been through it. They no longer crave perfection. They value progress. And that shift makes them magnetic because growth energy is attractive. It says, I'm moving forward. I'm leveling up. You've got to remember, guilt saps your strength, but growth multiplies it. Each time you find yourself saying, I shouldn't have done that, flip it. Say, thank you for teaching me what I needed to know. Channel guilt into gratitude, because if you hadn't made those mistakes, if you hadn't learned those lessons, you wouldn't be where you're standing today. You wouldn't possess the consciousness, the courage, the clarity that you possess now. And as you grow, you simply begin to attract those who notice and respect that growth. Perhaps that person you lost begins to notice the difference, not because you informed them, but because they feel it. They can see that you've transformed, that you've grown. You're no longer stuck in the past. That kind of energy is what brings people back. But here's the twist: your growth can't be about them. It must be about you. Because when you grow to prove a point, it's not actual transformation, it's acting. Real growth is subtle, it's consistent. It's that inner knowing that whispers, I've changed because I wanted to, not because I had to. So stop allowing guilt to dictate your narrative. Stop beating yourself up for being human. Take what went down, learn from it, and then push forward with intention. Because when you do, you transform your scars into marks of resilience. You transform your hurt into strength. You can't rewrite the past, but you can rewrite the meaning of it. And when you're focused on growth rather than guilt, you cease to wonder, why did this happen to me? And begin to know it happened for me. That's when you stop surviving and begin to evolve. That's when your comeback really starts. There is a point in time when you must cease to wonder, what did I lose? And begin to wonder, what am I here to create? That's when you transition from pain to purpose. Because the reality is, the quickest path to healing isn't standing still. It's moving towards something greater than your pain. When you connect to purpose, everything shifts. Your energy increases, your concentration intensifies, your heart begins to open again. See, most folks believe that passion vanishes due to situations. I lost them, so I lost my ambition. Things fell apart, so now I'm a shell. But that's not accurate. Passion doesn't kill itself. It just gets covered up. It's covered up by disappointment, fear, heartbreak, uncertainty. And your task now isn't to go on a mission to find who you used to be. It's to reignite who you're becoming. You've got to give yourself something to move toward again. Because when you have a compelling future, something that stirs your passion, provokes your growth, beckons you higher, you stop being stuck in the past. You stop reliving the tale of what went wrong because you're too busy writing a new one. Ask yourself today, what was I used to love doing? What excited me? What made me come alive before I got lost in someone else? Perhaps it was fitness, music, travel, making a difference, learning something. Whatever it is, go back there, reconnect to it, because your passion isn't missing. It's just waiting for you to show up again. When you're on fire about something, when you're chasing a vision that counts, people pick up on it. You move differently. You talk differently. You cease being lost. You become powerful. And here's the thing, that energy, that fire, that intensity, it's the same thing that has people wanting to be around you in the first place. It's never the individual who sits in self-pity that draws others. And again, it's the individual who gets up, who reestablishes, who says, okay, that chapter is over. Time to write a better one, because purpose empowers you. It takes all that emotional fuel that was bogged down in pain and turns it into momentum. You have to discover why that's larger than your heart itch, something greater than your pain, a purpose to rise, to move forward, to evolve. Because when your why is powerful enough, the how comes. You're no longer in the grip of your feelings. You begin to guide them. You no longer wake up in survival mode. You begin to wake up in creation mode. Purpose does not have to be epic. You don't have to change the world in a single night. It can begin small. Perhaps it's taking care of your body. Perhaps it's actually working on that business plan you've been putting off. Perhaps it's simply being present and grateful every single day. The important thing is not what it is. The important thing is that it gets the gears turning again. Because life is motion. When you're in motion, you build momentum, and momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates clarity, and clarity, that creates peace. You begin to remember who you are, and once you remember that, you're invincible. And here's the lovely paradox: when you rekindle your purpose, when you begin living with fire once more, the very individual you believed you'd lost tends to feel that change. They can feel your new energy, your intention, your passion, and it brings back memories of the individual they initially fell in love with. But by this time, something magical occurs. You no longer need them to return. You're complete once more. You're alive again. You're not living to prove something. You're living to become something. What purpose does, it pulls you out of the past and propels you into your potential. So don't wait for someone to reignite your spark. Rekindle it yourself. Do something today that gets your soul excited, gain momentum, add meaning. Because when you are living on purpose, you don't chase people, you attract them. You don't seek love, you become love in motion. That's the power of purpose. It doesn't just bring them back, it takes you back. There is one ability that distinguishes between the individuals who just get by and the individuals who actually live their lives, control of their emotions. Because let's be real, most individuals are controlled by their feelings. They wake up feeling bad and their entire day unravels due to that feeling. They receive a text that does not materialize, a call that never occurs, and they are instantly changed. But this is the truth. Whoever masters their emotions masters their destiny. You can't always control what comes. You can always control what it signifies and how you react. That's emotional mastery. And when you master your emotional state, nothing external to you has power over you any longer. Not silence, not rejection, not uncertainty. You stop reacting and you start responding. Consider how strong that is. When you're in control of your feelings, you can remain peaceful in turbulence. You can stay steady when everyone else is frantic. You can be warm when others are unkind, steady when others are reckless. That sort of presence, that stability is attractive because human beings yearn for certainty, and emotional control is the highest form of certainty you can provide. But the thing is, emotional control isn't suppression. It's not pretending you don't hurt or that you don't feel sad or that you don't get angry. It's feeling everything completely and yet still deciding what happens next. It's standing back and saying, I feel this, I see this, but I choose what comes next. That's the difference between being emotionally reactive and emotionally intelligent. When you allow your emotions to get the best of you, you lose your power. You allow one message, one moment to control your mood, your choices, your day. But when you take the reins, when you breathe, when you center yourself, when you decide your focus, you regain your energy. You grab the steering wheel back, and that control doesn't help you alone. It redeems your relationships. Because now, rather than responding out of fear, you're responding out of strength. Rather than blowing up when things don't go your way, you wait, you look, you communicate with clarity. You no longer have to prove, plead, chase, because your emotional center is solid. That level of control alters how individuals perceive you. It alters how they feel in your presence. When someone is no longer able to push your buttons, they respect you in a different way. When they understand that you're not reliant on their approval to be all right, you're grounded and confident regardless. That is when all the dynamics change because you have reclaimed your power. Here's a fact: few people ever learn emotions are habits. You can train them. The way you train your body, you can train your mind and heart to react differently. You can train yourself to default to peace rather than panic, gratitude rather than frustration, faith rather than fear. And the method by which you accomplish that is by mastering your state through movement, breath, focus, and language. Shift your body and you shift your feelings. Shift your focus and you shift your story. Shift your story and you shift your life. That's the recipe. Each and every time you catch yourself with your emotions in a tailspin, recall you're one breath, one thought, one decision away from shifting your state. And when you're able to do that, when you can remain peaceful in stillness, patient in doubt, loving when it's difficult, you're unstoppable. Because now you're not controlled by external conditions. You're the captain of your inner world. That's what emotional control is all about: freedom. It's not coldness, it's clarity. It's not distance, it's discipline. It's wisely used power. And people sense that power. They trust it, they respect it. Next time life tests you, take a pause, take a breath. Remember who you are. Don't let one fleeting moment of emotion undo a lifetime of work. Choose strength over reaction. Choose peace over panic. Because when you control your emotions, you control your energy. And when you master your energy, you master everything. There's an energy that the majority of people never access: the energy of complete certainty, the energy of existing as if what you want is already complete. Because when you assume something with complete belief, you begin moving in a different way. You communicate differently. You emit a confidence that draws all that you desire into your life. Most people live the opposite. They live saying, I'll believe it when I see it. But that's the wrong way around. The fact is, you'll see it when you believe it, because what you believe sets up what you do, and what you do creates what you get. When you live from the vibration of it's already mine, the universe reconfigures to bring that belief into reality. Think about the greatest achievers, the people who defied the odds, the ones who came back stronger than ever. They didn't wait for proof. They decided, they acted as if success was inevitable. They walked into every challenge with the mindset, this is done, I'm just catching up to, and that's why their lives unfolded the way they did. You can too. You want them to return. You want that relationship, that chance, that peace. Then cease inquiring if it will occur. Begin living like it is occurring. Begin sensing the thankfulness now. Begin being the version of you that already possesses what you desire. Because when you operate from the space of it's already done, you cease to vibrate lack. You cease to act from fear. You cease to chase. You instead move with serene confidence, as if you know the result is a done deal. That level of certainty doesn't merely attract, It commands attention. People pick up on it, they react to it. It's irresistible. Let me be clear, this isn't about denial. It's not faking it till you make it. It's about using your energy to support faith rather than fear. It's about taking action from a place of belief, not holding off until you get permission to believe. When you live as if your comeback, your healing, your success are inevitable, your mind begins to look for evidence to back that up. You start seeing opportunities, taking more courageous action, speaking more boldly. And you know what? Those actions produce results. That's how reality changes, not from hoping, but from knowing. You've done the work. You've stopped chasing. You've raised your energy. You've rebuilt your state, forgiven, grown, and reclaimed your power. Now it's time to own it, to live it. Move through your days with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they've already won. When you wake up, don't think, I hope today is great. Think today is already great. In. When you enter a room, don't shrink. Walk in like the end result is already yours. When you look in the mirror, see not the one who's waiting, see the one who's already there. Because when you're living on that frequency of knowing, everything comes into place. People feel it. They notice that radiance, that calmness, that being there, and they gravitate towards it. That's when the phone calls come. That's when the doors open. That's when the one you felt you lost begins to reappear, not because of sympathy, because they can sense that something within you has changed. And here's the lovely irony. By the time they do return, you're not expecting it anymore. You're not desperate for it. You're thankful, but you're complete. You're whole. Because you've understood that the true triumph wasn't them returning, it was you returning to yourself. So from here forward, step with confidence. Assuredly, act with belief. Feel the happiness now, not at some point in the future. Live as if it's already been accomplished. Because the truth is, it is. Second, you make a decision in your heart and match your energy with that reality, the rest of the world starts catching up. And when it does, you'll turn around and see you didn't wait for a comeback, you became one.